WCNC Charlotte, this is Flashpoint.
Thanks for joining us here on Flashpoint. I'm Ben Thompson. This week, Democratic Governor Roy Cooper blasting House Republicans after they laid out their spending plan for the upcoming year. The governor says the GOP focuses more on culture wars than child care, but Republicans in the House are standing firm, knowing well that Governor Cooper has to sign the budget in order for Medicaid expansion to go into effect. Joining us now, Lincoln County State Representative Jason Saine. He is the House Republican Conference Chair and one of the writers of this year's budget. Mr. Saine, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Ben, thanks for having me on.
All right, the governor issued a statement saying about the budget that the House budget fails public schools while injecting culture wars into classrooms, increasing vouchers for unaccountable private schools, giving even more tax breaks to wealthy people, and letting child care centers fail when they're needed to help get parents back to work. I ask you for your response.
Well, the governor is certainly poetic as he forms his opinions on our budget. We certainly had opinions on his as well. His would have broken the bank and spent way too much money. The reality is this is both political posturing on both sides. Our job is to craft a budget that's reasonable each year, that keeps us living within our means and making sure that we take care of the things that we need to take care of. A lot of it is much of the same things that we've seen that have been entered into the debate for years. The problem this year is the governor has a less of a chance of getting a veto that's sustainable. We have a chance at a possible veto override. Because
Medicaid expansion is tied to the budget, some skeptics or cynics might say that you all have a tremendous amount of leverage over the governor in this, knowing how badly he wants to pass Medicaid expansion to see it goes into effect. Are you all using that as to your advantage?
Oh, sure. I mean, look, this is part of the process, and we do know that it's something that the governor's wanted for a long, long time. I voted against Medicaid expansion, but it finally got enough votes to pass the House. So it's there. It's something he desperately wants. There's some things that we've wanted over the last several years where he wouldn't budge. So, using that leverage to get some of the things that we think are priorities, I think so, just part of the negotiation and getting us to that point. So the reality is he, after a long fight in his tenure as governor, he finally got the thing that he wanted the most. And so we've given in on that as a House and Senate. There's just some things that we want as well.
Recently, a group of Republicans released what would be a near total ban on abortion, but the speaker said he didn't think it was going to make much progress. So when are we going to get a look at the alternative proposal from Republicans?
I think you'll see that very soon. It's obviously something that keeps being talked about. It's top of mind since the Supreme Court decision. I imagine that bill probably looks something at a 12-week ban. We're at a 20-week ban now in state law. After 20 weeks, I think probably the number that we land on is somewhere around 12 weeks. The bill that was put out there, I mean, every legislator has a right to file a bill, but I can tell you that one is pretty much dead on arrival, just because we don't have enough agreement to get something like that passed, whatever your opinions may be on it. So the speaker was absolutely correct, and I think that is something that is coming soon. It's a long session, so we will get to a lot of big ticket items. That's one that stays at the forefront, and so I'd expect we'll see that in the coming weeks, probably next month or so.
You've been a big supporter of sports betting, the legislation. You recently had an opinion piece in the Charlotte Observer saying if it doesn't pass, North Carolina is just leaving money on the table. Explain.
Yeah, well, the reality is their neighbors to the north, Virginia, and over in Tennessee, they have sports betting. And we've got data that shows, hard data that shows that people every day drive just across the border, use their mobile device, and play sports bets. Since the Supreme Court ruled in 2018 that sports betting was legal, other states have already adopted it. So we're really kind of behind. And the reality is when our folks go into those other markets and spend their money, they're being taxed, and those taxes are going to fund schools, they're going to fund teacher raises, they're going to fund roads in Virginia and Tennessee. So us stopping it was never on the table, right? So because it was already happening, we lose about something around $4 billion each year in sports betting, or sports betting that happens in our state, to the tune of $4 billion. Getting a piece of that tax, we estimate, for what we pass in the House, would bring it somewhere between 60 and 85 million more dollars a year into the state coffers. It goes mostly to the general fund, so it will help fund a lot of the priorities that we've talked about in this budget and budgets to come.
You've introduced a bill looking to legalize happy hour. A lot of folks didn't realize it's not already a thing here in North Carolina. You legally can't have a happy hour as it stands. I don't think it's made a lot of progress, but in general, do you feel like our liquor laws in North Carolina are a bit antiquated and outdated?
As a matter of fact, that's exactly how I describe them most days. They are antiquated. We traditional, Bible Belt, South kind of mentality of against liquor, that we have since moved past that. Whatever your personal opinions may be, people have moved into this state from all around. They're very shocked to find out that happy hour is not an actual thing. That in states that they're coming from, they do have it. It's not meant to encourage binge drinking or anything like that. It's really meant to encourage people getting into the restaurants that also offer liquor and the mixed drinks, and so getting them in there so that they're spending money in those restaurants and getting their meal and moving on. It's meant to be at an earlier time of the day, so it's not meant to encourage excessiveness, but it is a tool that those proprietors can use to get people into their business. And like I say, once it became a topic of the day, we got a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails into our office saying, we didn't realize that wasn't legal in North Carolina. We just thought that they weren't offering it. So I think it's something that society has kind of moved past, from 20 and 30 years ago. We've seen that with some of the other reforms that we've passed in alcohol. Society doesn't fall into decay. Society doesn't, walk into mass chaos. It's just something I think that would be really just looking at updating and looking at the regulations that would give us put us more in tune with other states.
Your party is filled with free market conservatives and also religious conservatives, all under one umbrella. With that in mind, and if you're a supporter of free markets, do you think the state should still be in the business of running liquor stores?
Well, if I had my way, it could be king for a day. We would privatize the whole industry. I think that's something that I would like to see. I think we see it in other states. There's other ways to do this, but that's not the reality. That's not something that's going to pass either house in the short run. So I think in the meantime, we have to look at reforms like we're looking at and kind of 3.5 yards each time and making progress on those things. So, as you correctly point out, we've got folks, really on the far right and far left who would not want to see that. So, getting that magic number, getting majority, really points more toward smaller reforms in the meantime.
9 years after our first interview here on Flashpoint, Jason Saine, representative of Lincoln County. Mr. Saine, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Ben, thank you so much.
All right, take care. More Flashpoint after this.